Hey, this week on This Is Gravel, we have what Neil's been up to, interview with Lauf, and
what Bobby's been up to?
What Matt has to say.
That's right. Stay tuned to the end to hear what Matt has to say.
Hey, welcome to This Is Gravel. I am Bobby Thompson, and with me is
Neil Taylor.
Neil, what's been going on? What's been up to?
Getting out on my bike a little bit, but more or less just it's that holiday season, man. Been busy. Rumor is I might be getting on my bike today because it's gonna be like 60 degrees in December, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it while we got it, right?
Yeah.
Bobby, what you up to, man?
You know, even I am going to get on my bike today outside. I've been on the trainer a little bit, so I won't lie. But, we're only a month away from January events, and I always go head down to Texas. So it's time to get riding and time to get ready for next year.
I was counting actually this morning just out of curiosity, and as of today, which is December 4th, we are 102 days away from Land Run. Yes, exactly. And so it's going to be here quick. And so I'm like, you know what? Today's a good day to ride my bike.
Yeah,
So,
it's good to be outside.
Absolutely.
So we wanted to wrap up this season with talking to Lauf, one of our sponsors this year, and want to thank them definitely for that. Obviously, I have a great friendship with the guys over there at Lauf, and Matt was able to sit down and chat with Guðberg, one of the co-founders of Lauf, and just hear what he has to say.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We are joined today by Guðberg over at Lauf. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for joining us. And first off, before we get started in the show, I want to give you guys a big thank you. If you watch our show every couple of weeks, you see the Lauf advertisement that runs there at the beginning of the show. We are so grateful for your guys' support, and to everybody watching. You know, Lauf really is the one that makes it so we can travel and get these shows done out there on the internet for you guys. So thank you guys for that, starting off the top of the show.
Thank you for having us.
So Guðberg, before we really jump in and get started here, kind of give me some background about Lauf and how you guys started and kind of, where you guys came from.
Well, we're kind of just like start out as two knuckleheads. It's really started out with Benedict. Mm-hmm. He was working at Usher doing designing prosthetic feet, and he kind of had this idea in his stomach to enter the bicycle industry, and that was his dream for quite some years. And then back in 2010, I think he just couldn't wait longer, so he approached me and showed me some cool ideas, and it all kind of just started rolling from there. We've both been riding since ever. We've known each other since kindergarten. So, we've always been doing all kinds of bad ideas together. And this one is just one of them.
What was kind of the first product you guys brought to market?
Excuse me?
What was kind of the first product you guys brought out to the market?
Oh, yeah. So we started out with the Trail Racer, which was or is mountain bike suspension fork built around leaf springs.
Okay.
That was, you could say, kind of a necessity to start out mountain biking. We kind of wanted to do a gravel version of the fork, but back in 2010, gravel wasn't really where it is now. So the logical thing was to do a product for hardtails, which was made for like long distance riding. So the market was really was really a niche market compared to what gravel is now.
Yeah, absolutely. Tons of growth in the gravel, especially since 2010 out there. You know, Lauf is known for sponsoring a lot of gravel events here in the U.S., from major events to smaller starting out events. Why is it such a focus for you guys now?
We've always wanted to be part of the community ourselves, and a good way to do that is just participate in events ourselves by riding, and then since you're at the event, it makes sense to promote the company at the same time. So naturally, it has been our focus to do some events, and it's just so much fun meeting all those people. So we've like slowly been gathering more and more events from when we started, and now we're up to I think 55 or so for 2020.
Well, it's hard to find an event here, at least, that you guys aren't part of helping promote. So, speaking of promoting events, this year you guys had your first event over in Iceland. Tell us a little bit about the Rift and kind of your thoughts after the first year of doing that.
Well, it was a lot of fun. It's the first gravel event in Iceland, and we just thought it would made so much sense. We have so good gravel, and unfortunately, most of it is just locked up in snow, like 8 months a year. But we really wanted to have one, and yeah, it was fun and hard being on that side of the promotion, promoting, like doing the work around the event, putting it up, and all that stuff. So it was a little bit different from entering from the sponsor side. But it was a lot of work, but also super fun, and we're really glad that we have the first event now, and it's like slowly taking off, and everything in the right direction.
Yeah, we saw a lot of.
Sorry.
Yeah, we saw a lot of great content come out of it. I mean, just such a beautiful landscape to come partake in this year. What were some of the things? What was kind of the landscape, you think, what pulled a lot of people in for year one there?
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, for a lot of riders, it was like the trip of a lifetime. Wanted to experience the Icelandic like nature, the beauty of it, and like totally different landscape from most parts of the U.S. With black sands everywhere, and like kind of like this rough around the edges nature, and like very unpredictable weather. So yeah, that's definitely what pulled in most the riders for first year. We didn't sell out until like I think it was 3 weeks before the event in 2019, and then for 2020 it only took 12 hours. So I think the story is definitely good out there.
Yeah, definitely. Such a great event out there. And speaking of events, one thing you guys do is like we were talking about, you travel to a lot of events here in the stateside. What do you have any new ones you're planning on coming to in 2020, or what's kind of your goal for this year coming ahead?
So we are planning on Big Sugar.
Okay.
For 2020, and let me see. We have some new ones. We have, I think, the Quick and the Dead is one that we're gonna be at for 2020, and the Lowell Classic in Michigan.
Okay, yeah.
And then I think we're gonna do Chain Ring Massacre.
Yep, in Texas.
Yeah. And Gravel Race up Spruce Knob. We've been sponsoring some of those events for a few years, but we haven't been to them.
Yeah, very cool. When you guys come out here, a lot of what you guys do is you also demo some of these bikes. What is it like kind of working maybe a trade show all day beforehand and then trying to get on and race maybe the next day?
Well, it can, it takes a little bit off your battery, but usually it's okay. But I think maybe where it like took the most toll was for Dirty Kansas or my Dirty Kansas XL this year, where I fell asleep on the bike. But usually it's okay. It's best when you like can do some riding yourself in the demo, then you keep the legs fresh. But if you stand all day, it's a little harder.
Yeah, that's absolutely,
Just
those,
part of it.
those trade shows the day before, I don't think anybody really realizes until you work on how tiring those can get, showing off the products and meeting all the new people. Speaking of DKXL, they're in the middle of registration right now. Is that something maybe you or Berger or any of the Lauf crew are planning on trying to get into this coming year?
I did sign up or like put my name in the queue for 2020. I've been trying to get some other riders here at Lauf. I think Berger has some other business to attend to at this time next year, so unfortunately he won't be there. But I have to have some unfinished business.
Tell me a little bit about your bike setup you used for Lauf. Which bike did you use, kind of what fork, and that kind of setup going into it to promote your guys' bike brand a little bit?
Yeah, so I use our True Grit, which is like the gravel bike, like a true gravel bike that we have, and then we have the Anywhere, which is like more mixed terrain. For Dirty Kansas, because of the terrain, I take the True Grit with the Grit fork up front, a little bit of suspension, and I run 42. I did run 42 millimeter tires last year. The Resolutes from WTB. I guess I'll do something similar. Maybe depends on what the weather forecast is. If I go up to 45 or not. A little bit more cushion in the rear.
Very cool. Kind of talking about the True Grit a little bit. I know when the forks came out on the mark and the True Grit came out, there's a lot of mixed opinions and stuff, but now it has really kind of taken over a lot of the gravel race. What does it mean to you when you pull up maybe at a start line at a race and you see other people just absolutely having a blast on your guys' bikes?
It's really pleasing. It's most fun when you're just when I'm not riding in Lauf kit and I just meet some random rider in the race and he starts telling me about this awesome bike he has been riding and how it's just like changes his gravel riding. That's definitely ego boosting, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always cool to hear people proud of what you guys have made. Kind of give me a quick overview of your guys' bike lines. And later in the episode, they're actually going to see me put together with Isaac down at Gravel City the Anywhere that you guys shipped over to me this week. So kind of give me an overview of what kind of bikes you guys have on the market for anybody interested.
Yeah, so right now we have the Anywhere, which we made for like mixed terrain, and that one comes in I think 4 versions, like just different spec levels. So that one runs like a rigid fork with the smoothie handlebar. The smoothie handlebar is really good, like a match with a rigid fork because it takes the buzz out of the vibrations from the ground, and do that by using like similar technology as in the forks. We're using the S2 fiberglass to like filter out the noise from the vibrations from the road. And then we have the True Grit, which is our flagship True Grit gravel bike, and that one we have in I think 5 versions, like different spec levels, and then we of course are always working on something new on that front, but we'll see when it happens. But I think most probably have seen the patents we felt and have been out on the internet. So that like gives a hint on what we're doing.
I think we'll all be excited to see. I think Bike Radar, one of those brands, released some of the patents photos there, just the sketches. So I think we'll be excited when you guys move on down the road with some products there, and we're always excited for any new technology coming out. Again, thank you for being on the show today, and thank you so much to Lauf for making this show possible by sponsoring us and sponsoring all the gravel events out there. It really means a lot to all of us.
Thank you, and thank you for putting it on. It's great to be a listener.
Yep. Thanks, Guðberg.
All right, it's always great to hear from our friends over there at Lauf. I don't know if you truly understand how many events that they attend on our gravel calendar every year. I would say that if you wanted someone a company that's truly passionate about the grassroots gravel events, I mean, we're talking every level of gravel events. Somebody from Lauf is there, it seems like. In the Midwest, definitely, for sure.
Yeah, I heard about them obviously first when they came out because Caps up in Topeka was one of the stores that early on carried their bike. And so I got a chance to go up there, and Jeremy let me ride one. But it was always the grassroots events that they were sponsoring, that you saw Lauf Fort giveaways, bike giveaways, and then now you're seeing them come over and ride bikes with us. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they've truly done a lot for the events and just for being there and providing an atmosphere at all the races.
And my guess is we'll just see them probably even more and more here in 2020.
Yeah. I went to the Barry-Roubaix last year, and it was so funny because after the race got done, and Barry-Roubaix is pretty
Big
well
race.
attended,
Yeah.
right? It's a big race. So, you had the little expo area, and you have all these big tents set up. And I go over to the Lauf tent, and they have like 2 beanbag chairs and a couple blankets on the ground, and that's it. Because the whole point was, when you're done racing, they know exactly what we need as a rider, and that's just to crash. And so people were just crashed on the ground with a beer in hand, telling stories about the day, and that's all they needed for an expo tent. I mean, that's all we need.
You don't want to jump on a bike on a trainer and ride some more?
No. But, it was just kind of that level of, they get it.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun. Showing up at DK Expo last year, and Guðberg sitting there in his overalls and everything, it just cracks me up. They get it, and love supporting them in the gravel universe. So I got over to the Rift last year, which is already sold out for 2020 over in Iceland. Gorgeous race. I can't say enough about the experience over there and all the events that they tied you to, what they want to show you about the culture and everything. Gorgeous.
And it's cool that they're putting on an event over there that folks are hopping over the pond. A lot of folks.
Yeah.
To go travel and do something like that. I mean, I know here in 2020, I think both of us want to go and see other places and ride other events, not just in the Midwest. And it's cool to say, man, I can go to another country or, different part of the United States than just always riding bikes here, or at least the local, things, getting out and seeing other places.
Yeah.
Fun.
Well, and that's, even that ride is in Iceland, yet I feel like that's a local ride. It's that kind of a feeling that you get from them, from the vibe of the company, and I think that's why a lot of us support them so much. Definitely once you get to know them and everything. So, 2019 for you, since I brought it up.
2019 was pretty. I mean, really, this was the fewest races I've done since I started riding bikes 6 years ago. I only did a land run, did the double. That was kind of my, if you want to call it, Super Bowl, Daytona 500 to start off the year. That was my big thing, to go out there and do that. And
that
then,
pretty much ruined you for the entire year.
It did.
Didn't it?
I'll be honest. No, it really did. It's not even a joke, man. It put my training off. I was exhausted emotionally, physically, and it did. It put me in a pretty big hole. And so, I mean, I'm right now, I think, just barely scratching past 3,000 miles this year on my bike, which is, again, the lowest since when I started riding bikes. And so, I've got some plans for 2020, getting it back going, and it starts today, December 4th, getting out and riding in the 60-degree weather, man. But speaking about 2020, Bobby, what do you got planned, man? What's coming up here for this coming year for you?
So 2020, something very unexpected happened in 2019, and that's I talked myself into riding the Cannonball 550 here out of Emporia, Kansas, which was a 550-mile unsupported bike ride. And I ended up enjoying it way more than I thought I would. So 2020, I think it's, I'm going to definitely attend and ride a lot of the traditional, what we call around here, traditional gravel events, the 100-mile and stuff. But I have my eye on bigger and longer rides, and which means putting in more miles, and maybe not as maybe intensive miles, but just hard, good miles. And definitely have applied for the DKXL. We'll see if I get accepted for that. I think in a couple weeks is when they're going to announce those. I think
here in
so.
2 weeks.
And hopefully I get it. Now that's a little bit different because there is a time schedule you got to stick on the DKXL, where something like the Cannonball was just a tour.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of fun just going out there and riding through towns and experiencing life a little bit different. So we'll see where that goes. Bucket list events that I have planned for 2020 comes right off the bat. Headed out to Bakersfield, California for the Rock Cobbler.
Yep.
And
Early February, right?
Early February 9th. So when I say it's time to start riding now, it's because Land Run won't be the start of my year next year. It'll be Bakersfield. And it's not for any podium dreams in Bakersfield. It's so I don't want to be dead last. I mean, there's a lot of different riders out there on the West Coast, and it'll be exciting. So.
Yeah, it'll be a completely different trip, I'm sure, heading out there and going out to Bakersfield. But from what I've heard, it's pretty fun event out there as well.
Yeah. So that's 2020. What about you?
2020 for me, I'm gonna scale it back. Let me rephrase that, sir. Could you make that clearer? I'm not going to be doing actually less events. Actually, I'll probably be doing a whole lot more events.
Yeah.
I do not plan on doing the DK 200. I plan on riding the 100.
Okay.
That is pretty much set in stone. I have zero desire to go out and do the 200 this year. I think I want to go out there and do the 100. I got a couple of high school kids that are planning on doing the 100 as well. And our intention is to ride it together as a team.
Okay.
And so whether it's 3 of us or 6 of us, we're going to try to get out there and do the 100 miles together.
Awesome.
Get them through that. For most of them, that will be their first ever 100-mile event. And it'll also probably make my DK week a whole lot more enjoyable than maybe some other years have been. Otherwise, I got Belgian waffle ride. On my
April.
Yes, early May.
Early May.
Yeah, May 3rd.
Okay.
So I'm going to be heading out to California as well, and we'll see what goes on. I've only been to California once in my life.
This is Gravel Goes to California in 2020.
Yeah, and we'll maybe be doing more events in California combined than Kansas. Who knows? I mean, but I'm looking forward to going out there, experiencing something different. Since I started riding bikes 6 years ago, I've only ridden my bike in Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, and Oklahoma.
Okay.
I have never gone to an event outside of those states. I have never ridden my bike even outside of those states. And so this will be exciting and nerve-wracking all at the same time.
Yeah.
On top of that, I'm really considering possibly heading up to Michigan, heading up to coast to coast.
Coast to coast.
Going up and seeing my family. My dad lives up there. He lives about 30 minutes from the finishing line there. And there's maybe some other surprises. We'll see. But even if I do that, my intention isn't to go up there and do 200. I'll probably do the 100 and, again, enjoy the day, enjoy the time, and, get to see some of the gravel family again in a different setting.
Yeah. So. Excited about 2020 coming up. Lots of traveling, lots of bike riding.
Absolutely. Like I say, there's some other smaller events, Oklahoma, Nebraska, a couple other places that I'm thinking about adding on this year as well. But we'll know more, I guess, as 2020 gets a little bit closer.
Well, let's lead into what you guys have been riding, what you guys have been doing. Matt, social media.
Hey, thanks, Bobby and Neil. It is absolutely my favorite time of the show. That's time for social media. Thank you to everybody that submits photos using the hashtag #ThisIsGravel on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. First up, we've got this photo from Keith Smith out in Texas, hitting the roads around Texas with his daughter this past week. Glenn was exploring a little B-road action in northwest Missouri. Tom was out exploring the Minnesota River Bottoms. Travis got out on his fat bike on Thanksgiving Day, hitting up the local single-track park. Paul Brasby was out after the storm riding his cutthroat near North Platte, Nebraska. Bryce said he got out for a cold, wet ride in central Illinois. Josh says there's gravel under that snow somewhere, 20 chilly miles in north-central Iowa with about a quarter mile of hiking through the snow. Alan White got a little muddy out in Logan County, Oklahoma. Jeff was out in the mountains near Leadville, Colorado. He says there's gravel under all that snow somewhere. Michael Robertson got in a brisk Thanksgiving morning ride near Canton, Illinois. Thank you to everybody that submitted photos on social media all season long using the hashtag #ThisIsGravel. Make sure you keep sending them. We love seeing where they come from.
Awesome, guys. Again, we always love seeing what you're doing. Bobby, can you believe that we are at the end of 2019?
End of 2019. Woo!
End of 4 seasons. Only the second season I've been here, but it's crazy. It's been a fun ride up to this point, and enjoying and looking forward to what 2020 is going to hold for the show.
Yeah, we got some tricks up our sleeve, right?
You could say that, some tricks up our sleeve. It's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing what this show becomes, not just in 2020, but in the future going forward.
Major network?
Disney Plus.
Probably not.
No. Thanks, guys, for watching. We appreciate it. And make sure you're following everything on Instagram, Facebook, all those wonderful places. And we'll see you at the races in 2020.
Stay tuned for a few words from Matt. Thanks.
Hey, thanks, Bobby and Neil, for wrapping up this episode of This is Gravel. This episode marks the 95th episode we've produced here out of the studio in downtown Emporia, Kansas, over the last 4 seasons of Gravel Guru. In the show notes, what you'll find today is a survey about the 2019 content we produced and what you want from us in 2020. We can't wait to be back here next year in 2020 to help produce the best season of Gravel Guru yet. Thanks for watching. We couldn't do it without all of our viewers at home.